Thank you so much for joining us this morning. My name is Sabrina Britt, and I am the volunteer coordinator with YOLO Basin Foundation. We welcome you this morning to our City of Davis Wetland Tour. We partner with the City of Davis to provide these wetland tours free of charge to our community. We also do tours in the YOLO Bypass Wildlife Area. We are the education nonprofit that focuses on educating our community about the YOLO Bypass Wildlife Area and our surrounding wetlands in the greater Sacramento region. We provide all sorts of programs for youth, for adults, and for families. And in fact, starting March 20th through April 11th, we have a family-friendly or cohort-friendly scavenger hunt, where during those days from sunrise to sunset, you can come out to the YOLO Bypass Wildlife Area and do a scavenger hunt. It's for all ages, and everything is online at yolobasin.org/scavenger hunt/. We have other opportunities coming up, such as on April 1st, we have our Vernal Pool Speaker Series kicking off. This is a seasonal program in partnership with Grasslands Regional Park and Yolo County Parks and Rec. We have funding to provide these free speaker series. So our Flyway Night speaker series ends on April 1st, but kicks off the new Vernal Pool seasonal speaker series. And that day we will have Eva Butler speaking on April 1st at 7:00 p.m. about the jewels of our valley, the vernal pools. So we hope you'll be able to join us for the scavenger hunt coming up, as well as some of the vernal pool speaker series as well. Today, I'd like to introduce Ken Ely. Ken Ely is a longtime volunteer with the YOLO Basin Foundation. He's been with us since around 2014, I believe. He's involved in a lot of different projects with us. He's an amazing bird photographer. He's got a lot of great knowledge and background he's going to share with you today about the birds and the other wildlife and the plant life that we see out here. He is a past president of YOLO Audubon Society. And without further ado, I'd love to turn it over. Oh, excuse me, I will add one more note before I turn it over to Ken. That if you have any questions for Ken throughout our time together today, please remember to use the chat feature. So at the bottom of your Zoom screen, the little toolbar pops up and you can click chat, and you're going to choose to send your questions to everyone. So if it gives you options on who to send your questions to, send it to everyone so others that are watching can also see if their question has been asked already. And our moderator, Lucia, will be happy to ask Ken your questions for you to help with minimizing feedback and talking over each other as well. If you have questions, we can take them throughout our time. So when Ken has a nice pause, Lucia will jump in and ask your question for you. We will also have time at the end to receive and answer more questions as well. So without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to Ken. And we're going to just spotlight our scope for a moment so you can see what's out there. And we'll make sure Ken has his gear ready to talk to you.
Sabrina, I need you to put me as co-host again.
Will do, Lucia. Thank you.
Excuse me, folks. Hi. I hope I'm coming through okay. Trying to talk through a mask. But anyway, thank you for joining us today. And I really appreciate the kind introduction from Sabrina. But she did say that perhaps I've been volunteering since 2014. It sure seems like it's a couple of decades. It's been so much fun. But what's really cool is being out here today during this virtual tour. This is my first time doing such. But I co-led the first public wetland tour out here with Joan Humphreys. The very first one. it was kind of cool. And we had excitement of being locked in. So yeah, it's kind of nice to be out here again today during this time. So hopefully we will get some cool birds in the scope, and I'll go around, take a look at and see what we have in the scope, and we'll go from there. Any questions before we get started? Just kind of put them in. Okay. Okay, they're still good here, right? Okay, I'm gonna go around, take a look at the camera and see what we have out there in the scope. I see. Okay. I don't see. Now I do. What we have here are black-crowned night herons. What we have three adults here. And they're daytime roosts. Black-crowned night herons, just like in the name says, they forage at night. And our house is kind of in a path of a roost years ago. Our house is still there, but the roost is not. And around 6 o'clock in the evening, we'd hear this squawk, and they'd be flying over our house, going out to work. And you can have these roosts. They could be from 10 birds to 100 birds. We have, I don't think we have quite 100 here today, but I think pretty sure 75 is a good number. We have mostly adults, and when you're out in the wildlife area or the wetlands and you see the adults are white underneath and gray on the back with the black crown. And the immature are about the same size, but they're brown and they have streaks. Streaks are vertical markings on the breast. So Micron herons are pretty cool, especially when they squawk. So I think we're showing some up close up. And during breeding season, or when the nesting season, you'll see them out foraging in the daytime in alfalfa fields that are being irrigated. So those are good places to take a look at for black-crowned night herons. Okay. Let's see what else.
Ken,
Yes.
there was just a question about when the wetlands are open for tours.
Okay, I failed you on that one. The question is, when are the wetlands open for tours? Right now, from between now and September 1, they had been open 7 days a week, but I think now they're just open on Mondays from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. And
there's also a question about whether the black-crowned night herons have long necks.
No.
No.
Black-crowned night herons have short necks. They can stretch them out, but mostly when you see them, their neck is sitting on their, if they had shoulders, the neck would be sitting on their shoulders. But when they're alert or they are reaching out and hunting, you will see a neck, but not like their cousin, the great blue heron or the great egret. Good questions. And I'm looking right now, it's not in the scope, but I'm looking at a black phoebe. That is a flycatcher that is very common in wetland areas. And I like to think that over my years of bird watching, if I don't see a black phoebe, I mean, it's not an official outing until you see a black phoebe. So this outing this morning has now been a designated official. Speaking of egrets, we have a great egret here. Wait, no. I'm sorry. I have sunglasses and I left my reading glasses in the vehicle. So there's I saw the face on this, and it's a snowy egret. Because the snowy egret has a black bill, and what I'm seeing here is a black bill, and it's a small bird. It's a small bird, maybe 2 feet high. And but it is an interesting bird. In the winter months, they will band up, and you can see 10 or 12 flying together, foraging together, roosting together. But when you see them standing next to a great egret, it's kind of like an adult standing next to a 3-year-old. This one here is preening. Birds do a lot of preening because they are feathers are their livelihood in terms of survival, and so they do a lot of preening to keep the barbs in shape. Excuse me a second. Okay. Okay. The other bird we have out here today is a double-crested cormorant. They like the double-crested cormorant is the only cormorant that we see inland up here. You also see them on the coast. It's a large cormorant, and we see them frequently in the wetlands, and they are related to pelicans. And the double-crested has an orange gular pouch. The pouch you see on pelicans, well, it's not as big on cormorants as it is on their cousin. The picture showing right now is a breeding cormorant, so it's really bright orange. You start seeing a little bit of the crests coming out, a maturity feature and a breeding feature, and it's a pretty cool bird. They don't have oil glands, so you will see them out with their wings spread to dry. They're fish eaters, and they can be characters. And if you like enjoyment while birding, cormorants being a diving bird, their feet are set way back, and they need a runway. So you'll see them flapping their wings or running on the water to get airborne. You'll see them singly, you'll see them in flocks, but it's a pretty cool bird to see. What else do we have? Hearing Marsh Wrens, long-bill Marsh Wren, long-bill. They were long-bill when I started. Now they're just called Marsh Wrens. We have some ducks out here, and we have coots. One of the ducks we have out here that's a ruddy duck, and it's a very small duck. It's a stiff-tailed duck. So if you take a look at the ruddy duck and you see their tail stick straight up or at a 45-degree angle, that's kind of like, whoa, did you see that kind of tail? You know, you got a ruddy duck on a small bird. The males they're starting to molt into breeding plumage, where the males will get that really cool rusty, cinnamony color with a white face and a black cap and crown that comes down over the eye and down the back, and then their baby blue bill, robin eggs, blue bill. And so those are starting. That plumage is starting to come on right now. So if you have a chance to be out in the wetlands and stuff, you see a ruddy duck. Hopefully you can see that. Oh, okay. We're going to play a sound of the male. That is the sound of a male displaying a courtship displaying in front of the female, and they will be tapping their breast. They got the water in their breast, and they're tapping it with their bill, and then at the end, it's like a burp, and then they look at her and said, "Did you like that?" It is so cool to watch that. We have another sound. Yeah, they're noisy displayers, and just the little sounds. I like to, when I'm out in the wetlands, I like to listen for the sounds. Um, I like to watch the birds too, but listening for the sounds, the different calls, um, but during the breeding season, you'll start seeing a little bit more displays and a little bit different sounds. Like, whoa, I didn't know they made a sound like that. And head bobbing, courtship and waterfowl, I think is pretty cool. Okay, looks like Nancy's trying to find us. We've had Canada geese out here. And you know what? They're Canada geese. They're not Canadian. I know it's tempting, but don't do it. Let's see. There's a lot of water out here today. And basically, there's a lot of water in our general area. And when you have so much water that we have now in the rice fields, you have a lot of opportunity for birds for foraging and roosting. So some days this place can be hopping. It's a little slow today. I have to admit, it's a little slow today. But it is very fortunate to have an opportunity or to have such a place to come out. Now, I got my eyes on something way in the distance. We really can't see it. And I tried to focus on them. Okay, they're like, half a mile, 3/4 mile out. And it was a small bunch of, small flock of shorebirds. Because as they move, you see dark and then you see this white. And so my first thought they were going to be red-winged blackbirds, but it turns out they were a shorebird, type of shorebird. I would say from this distance, there could have been about 100 birds in that knot. They're looking for, the rice fields here are, the water's evaporating, so it's down to mud, and that's what shorebirds are looking for, is mud. And I wouldn't be surprised if we're starting to get any migrants in several different species. I've heard talk of sandhill cranes heading north. And so there could be the birds that wintered here versus the birds that are moving through heading north. But here at this part of the wetlands, it's a very large ponded lake right now, and it's it's pretty slow. When water's high like this, then what we can't see out here are the different loafing islands, and because they're in the water, and then those loafing islands that are above water are overgrown with tules. And so we do have the trees that the night herons and the cormorants are in. Got a yellow rump warbler right here by us, is foraging in a tree. And I'm guessing these are going to be willows or cottonwoods. It's hard to really say. But anyway, hopefully we could hear some other things. Song sparrow. Yeah. I'm sorry. I song sparrow. There's some ibis flying by, white-faced ibis. See, there's water's too deep out here in this pond of the wetland, so we won't see them here, but we did see them coming in the rice fields. Okay, we've got a song sparrow coming up here. Song sparrow song. It's a beautiful song. They're going to start. They do have a call. They do kind of sing a little bit throughout the winter, but they'll start singing in earnest here. when they start courting females or start announcing their boundaries of their territory. And that's the call of the song sparrow. Okay. Yeah. And that's funny. I just saw a song sparrow pop up, or I don't know, saw a bird pop up. He's a long ways off. But yeah, that's what you can listen for when you're out like this. Maybe not the full blown song, but you'll have that call, and they will call out in the open, or they can be down inside the tules and cattails where you can't see them calling. Okay. Hearing right now, I don't know if you can hear that for the camera, but that was a pied-billed grebe. Pied-billed grebe is a small grebe, and my wife calls them submarine birds because when they want to dive, they just sink down in the water. Okay. A lot of noise for a very small bird, isn't it? And it's a and they can be feisty, especially when they don't want to share an area in the water. And they will build a floating nest in a small corner of a pond close to some tules. The best ones I've seen have been close to tules. The ones that are out in the open, they don't generally make it. There's this one nest that I'd seen somewhere, and it didn't last long being out in the open, too exposed to the sun and to predators. But it's another one of those small birds that if you're a bird watcher, they probably catch your eye. But if you're just out enjoying nature and you're not really tuned into birds, you are naturally going to be drawn to the big birds, like the great blue heron, like the Canada geese, and the numbers of a black-crowned night heron. But it's small. I can hear a song sparrow singing. We've been hearing marsh wrens around us calling. Those you hear more than you see. Yeah, just hearing a song sparrow far out. Meadowlark. To me, a meadowlark is spring. So here, meadowlarks are posting up on top of these trees. I don't know how far this one is from us, but it is a cool song. It is just really, you get a song stuck in your head. This is a great one to have. Do, 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 do. This, wasn't I right? I had it so dialed in. Pretty cool, huh? They're a ground nester. If you've seen a meadowlark, you probably noticed when you're going by, you see this bright yellow breast in the V. Western meadowlark. That's a long word. So in my field notes, I go back over the years, and you'll see V-lark. V as in Victor lark. I'm not going to write down Western meadowlark. I run out of lead on my pencil. But it is a cool bird. Like you'll see them in flocks of 2, you'll see them in flocks of 20. It's a grassland upland bird, and most wetlands will have some sort of grassland upland area. And so you'll see them often in wetlands areas that have uplands, wetland areas that have upland portions, and then the farmlands. So you're driving the county roads on your way to work or somewhere, you'll see them. They may post up on top of the fence posts. I've been called into the principal's office. Okay. Okay. Got some cormorants here. Now, earlier we looked at some cormorants and we had all black. On here, I'm seeing one. It's either, it's not quite. Yeah, that's on the bird. It looks like white. And that would make it an immature cormorant. And so it's like, what are you guys doing? Perhaps they were doing some, they're feeding this morning. And now they've got their full of fish. And they're just hanging out, preening. Cormorants, try to watch them so, and yeah, behavior-wise, they're not as exciting as watching a ruddy duck court a female. Yeah. Oh. Now see that tail there? I like that tail. Yeah, cormorants. I think they're a frog, don't they? It's okay. You know why? They eat too much fish. They probably got fish bones stuck in there, and it messes up their voice. And they say, "Hey, that's a great evolutionary thing. Let's roll with it." Now, see, here's a great example of the smallness of a snowy egret. The snowy egret's there next to cormorant. Yeah. Like a ruddy duck there, white cheek. It's like all these guys got up early this morning and they're all tired right now. Yeah, there's a ruddy duck. You can see that tail. Even in their resting, the tail is a stiff tailed duck. That means that the shafts of those feathers are very, very sturdy. The only other duck like it is the masked duck down in Mexico. You might be able to see one if you're in the Rio Grande Valley and see them down there. So, okay. Alrighty. Oh, who is that? Cormorant just kind of, I don't know if he flew in or if he dived off of a branch. There's a coot. The coot just going by. Coot. You know it was a coot because his head's connected to his feet, like a chicken, you know. But coots are, people will say, oh, okay, yeah, I saw 500,000 of these black ducks with white beaks. What kind of ducks are those? Well, I'm sorry, Jimmy, but those are not ducks. Those are coots, American coots. They're in the rail family. And if you were able to have one over for dinner one time and you asked them to take the shoes off because you don't want, you have a white carpet, you'll see they do not have webbed feet. Their feet have lobes. The toes have little flaps on them. Like a web foot, it helps with propulsion. They seem to go just as fast as they want to go. And but it helps them distribute their weight so they can walk on flotsam and jetsam in the ponds and not sink so much in mud. And they're not too ineffective because being a diving bird, its legs, like I mentioned, his legs further back, so they're awkward on land. Some coots look good on land, so they're not as awkward. But they have short wings and they need a runway. So you will see coots running and flapping to get in the air, all to just fly another 20 yards. Just swim it. But it's kind of a panicky thing. Whoa, whoa, here's somebody's coming. So they run out and flap, 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 get in the air. Oh, we can land now. And I'm just tired watching them do that. They can be raucous. They can be territorial. They can feed together. They can feed around other birds. And I don't know what happened, but they'll say, "This is my spot. Get out." So coots are you can have some good behavioral observations on a coot. They're little characters, but yes, they are not ducks. Right up there, like the Canada goose is not Canadian, and because most of them, back in the old days, a lot of them bred in the Arctic. Could have been the Canadian Arctic. But anyway, American coot, very, very abundant bird across the country. There's a flotilla. Okay, I got a lot of glare on these ducks. Okay, the last one I could see. Okay, I'm going to call that last one a mallard. There's a lot of backlight here, and I'm sorry about that. And it would be the same backlight if you were out here. Mallard is a very popular duck nationwide. And did you know that the white domestic duck on Uncle Bill's farm was developed from the mallard? If you were to listen to them, you will hear the same voice in the male, wah, wah, and in the females, wah, 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 wah. And yeah, so mallards are cool. I love their little curly tooth tails, and you see mallards at parks and stuff, but seeing a real mallard is just so beautiful. Male mallard. Hear female in the background too. That's the hailing call. And then they have a chuckle when they're content. Alarm call. Yeah. Yeah, that's the alarm call of the mallard. That means like, somebody is in the way. Hang on a second, folks. Thank you. Okay, we're trying to get in on here on a ruddy duck. That stiff tail. Ruddy ducks are diving ducks. Yeah, but they're so small. They're so cute. Now, unlike other ducks, the ruddy duck has a different plumage in the winter. What we have here for most of the other ducks, they will go into their bright breeding plumage during the winter, but the ruddy duck will go into a plain drab plumage. Where they look more like females. They'll still be, they can still fly and be functional, and so it's a good sign of spring to see them coming on. With their bright colors. But ruddy ducks are very cool. And also out here we got tree swallows flying around, yellow rump warblers, Phoebe's, ibis going here, going there. It is not boring out here. So it's just not as frantic. It is a great pace for birding and bird study because you can spend time on these different birds because they aren't moving around as much as they could be. Sorry. Anyway, I'm showing you a white-faced ibis now. This is a picture of a white-faced ibis that is in fine form for breeding. That's where the white line on the face becomes apparent and highlights their red eye, and then there's some red skin, and that is a breeding feature. And that's when they get, look at how shiny and iridescent that bird is. It's a pretty cool bird. And to watch them when they fly, and I can get an angle on their head and the bill, and it reminds me of Gonzo from the Muppets. And it's a pretty cool bird. So anyway, yeah, so I think we're getting ready to wrap up. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to do my best to try to respond to them. I mean, I can definitely respond to them, but respond to them with an answer that's useful to you. So go around in front. I'm gonna go around in front. Oh. Oh no, that'd be funny if I tried this. Oh. You know, I have a few props here, and there's a prop that I want to show you, and it is it's a nest. And some of you, I'm sure, will know what this is, and but I'm going to talk about it anyway. Thank you. Here's where. Oh. So I got this nest that Sabrina brought from their collection of educational stuff. Look at that nest. It's like, how can a bird weave this? I mean, I can patch a hole in a sock, but you know, this is amazing. There's even a feather in there, and but this is a nest of a very common bird in the wetlands. It's a bird that's in a family that their family name is Troglodytes. If you think that sounds familiar, the troglodytes, the caveman. So this family of birds has something to do with caves. They are cavity nesters. Most cavities are in a dead tree or some other hole that a woodpecker made. But this nest is in the marsh. It's made out of cattails and flattened tules, but mostly cattail leaves, and it's woven. This is the nest of a marsh wren. They made their own cavity. It is so cool. And the male builds the nest. He may have 2 or 3 different nests in his territory. And then when he's on territory singing, he's telling the females that, hey, I've got a beautiful home and it's right over here. Bring your friends. We serve tea and crumpets, and we're going to have a walkthrough of these homes. And so that's what they do. And if you just, ooh, folks, what I just saw flying by across the way was an accipiter, which is a hawk, a raptor. An accipiter is a bird-eating hawk, and the two accipiters we have in our area are Cooper's hawk and sharp-shinned hawk. The Cooper's hawk are expanding their range where they are thriving in residential areas. We have a hawk that regularly comes to our yard. There's one that I know has nested within a mile of our house in a park. And so anyway, there he just left. It's long, flat wings. And we have another bird coming. It is it's a Canada goose. I got all excited about a Canada goose. Anyway, I just wanted you need to know what a Marsh Wren looks like in troglodyte and how they've adapted. We have any questions? No, I am a amateur hobbyist photographer. I take classes, but no, I don't teach them. I have a lot to learn. I'm not sure. I haven't talked with the city wildlife person in a while about the wetlands. Since the ponds are no longer used for water in the water treatment process, they become a lower priority. And yes, a lot of them are overgrown with tules and sediment. We're right now where we are, what you're looking at, what we looked at here today is the wastewater lagoon, the first pond that comes from the water treatment plant. And I noticed a place where there was a stand of cattails that was like out in the middle. So that just shows how much sediment has grown, has been deposited in here just from water flow. So no, I don't know what's going to happen.
Will there be any improvements to the wetland? Oh, okay, sorry. There are new questions are popping up. Can one of you talk about the purpose and function of the Davis wetlands?
Oh, okay. The wetlands were it was, now this is all from memory back in the day during the first parts of the training. It was 3,000 acres purchased from the Conaway Ranch. And the purpose was to incorporate these 7 ponds, actually 8 ponds, into part of the water treatment plant for the flow water through these different ponds at different elevations for filtering of the water before its disposal into the toll drain, which will lead to the Sacramento River. And so it had this series of ponds, and it also has another pond with the gate from the Willow Slough bypass. So during heavy flood years, they can divert water into here, and here into the wetlands. So that's the history, the real basic thumbnail history of the Davis wetlands. It's no longer used in water treatment, so all of that is history. Okay, yeah, the picture, the aerial picture of the wetlands, I would imagine. Yeah, it's amazing how close it is to the freeway, and if you see a bird here, is very likely to see that same bird over at the Yolo bypass wildlife area, such as in recent years we've had the Egyptian geese, that were first seen here at the wetlands, and then spent a lot of time out at the wildlife area. Wetlands and wildlife area, okay, the wetlands are associated with the City of Davis water treatment plant, and the wildlife area is the Yolo bypass wildlife area. that spans the causeway, cuts across the top. Another set of Canada geese leaving. Maybe they forgot they had an appointment somewhere. Other questions? I was so clear that everybody doesn't have any questions. I love it. Okay. Hey, if any of you saw Charlie Russell's Flyway Night, they're trying to do something else here. Hopefully you know, some of you were able to tune in Thursday night for the Charlie Russell's talk on the plants of the wildlife area. And here in my prop box is a twig from a cocoa burr. You know, for all these years, I thought cocoa burrs are so nasty they had to be foreign, but they're a native plant. And they got these seed pods. And if you're a Springer Spaniel, you would love to go through here and get these in your ears or in your pants or in your socks. This whole barbed thing is a whole part of seed distribution. Get on an animal and somewhere, but I have no idea how you open up those seeds. I should, you know, they dulled my Swiss Army knife. So I'm going to turn this over to Sabrina so she can wrap this up. And I hope that you're still awake after listening to me drone on about birds. And thank you so much.
Well, I'd like to take this moment to thank Ken Ely for volunteering his time to lead us on this virtual tour of the City of Davis Wetlands. Thank you, Ken. I'd also like to thank Colette Kitlis, who is behind the camera, our videographer, which you may have seen her pop up a couple of times as we moved around for lighting and shade with our umbrella out here. I want to thank Nancy Tyler, who has been operating our spotting scope out here today so that you can see the wildlife from the safety of your own home, since at this time we're not able to come together. We hope that pretty soon in the future, we'll be able to offer in-person programs again. We're looking forward to the opportunity to get you physically back out here and enjoying nature with us in the way we did before. But we appreciate and want to thank all of you as well for joining us. We have had a wonderful, overwhelming response from all of our community in participating in our continued virtual program formats, as well as supporting us. Our Bucks for Ducks annual fundraiser this year went virtual, and we just got so much overwhelming support. We want to thank all of you. Just a quick reminder that we're with Yolo Basin Foundation and the City of Davis Wetlands that we're in today. And you saw some pictures of the location and the gate to come in that is currently open for you to come out here. There's a small auto tour loop, which we are actually standing on right now. And that is open on Mondays from 7 o'clock to 1 o'clock. You also can access the Yolo Bypass Wildlife Area that's right off of Childs Road. And that is open from sunrise to sunset every single day except for Christmas. That has remained open through the pandemic. So has the Davis Wetlands through this pandemic, so that you can get outside for your mental and physical and emotional health and breathe in this wonderful fresh air and see the wildlife out here. So you can still come out on your own. We do remind you to stay safe, follow all of the signage for when you're driving out on the auto tours, both here in the City of Davis Wetlands and in the Yolo Bypass Wildlife Area. Make sure that you are staying on trails and not crossing over into other preserve habitat or conservation habitat or being currently restored habitat. So make sure you do that. Just want to remind all of you that maybe are less familiar with the Yolo Bypass Wildlife Area that dogs must stay home. They can be in the car, but you can walk dogs up on the levee. Bikes must stay out of the wildlife area as well, bicycles. but you can bicycle just north of the railroad tracks that cross over the bypass. And then you can also bicycle on the levees as well. So there are plenty of great ways to access out here. A quick reminder, March 20th through April 11th, we have that all ages scavenger hunt out in the Yolo Bypass Wildlife Area. So I hope you join us for that. That's all on our website to see how you can participate. And all of the clues will be on your worksheet, so you can find your way and navigate the wildlife area with a map as well to all the scavenger hunt stations. And there's also a prize drawing involved. So dun, 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 you can actually win a surprise from Yolo Basin Foundation when you complete and enter the answers to your clues for the scavenger hunt. And a quick reminder that April 1st, we have our last Flyway Nights on Thursday at 7 p.m., but it kicks off our Vernal Pool seasonal speaker series as well. That's also on our website, yolobasin.org. Thank you all so much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And thank you, Leisha, for moderating from home.